And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Well, in terms of programming,
Sounds
should we
fun.
expect to see you here every day? How frequently will these press briefings be?
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
The woke media thought they could corner Karoline with their usual loaded questions, but it didn't go as planned. Spoiler alert, she didn't just dodge their traps. She flipped the script, hit them with facts, and left them scrambling. It was like watching a heavyweight champ knock out rookies in the first round. Brutal, swift, and utterly satisfying. If you enjoy takedowns like this, stick around, because what you're about to see is next level. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss these fiery moments.
When you're up here in this briefing room speaking to the American public, do you view yourself and your role as advocating on behalf of the president, or providing the unvarnished truth that is, not to lie, not to obfuscate to the American people?
Honestly, I don't even blame the reporter for asking. The Biden administration has spent years pushing nonsense, from calling inflation transitory while prices soared to insisting the border was secure as crossings hit record highs. Of course, the media is conditioned to expect spin, but here's the kicker. This was Litt's first day as White House press secretary. You'd think they'd ease in, but no, they went straight for a trap. Too bad for them, Karoline saw it coming a mile away. Let's roll her response, and then I'll break down exactly how she shut them down.
I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people. And that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vow to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this White House. So yes, I will hold myself to the truth, and I expect everyone in this room to do the same.
Karoline came out swinging. Just 10 minutes into her debut, she dropped a truth bomb that hit 2 targets at once. First, she vowed to cut through the White House's usual fog of spin and obfuscation, promising cold, hard facts. No dodging, no nonsense. But she didn't stop there. She went straight for the jugular, calling out the legacy media for the mountain of lies they've shamelessly pushed. Remember when they claimed Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people? Conveniently, they cropped out the part where he explicitly condemned them. Karoline wasn't about to let them get away with that kind of deception. But she wasn't just venting, she flipped the script. If the press wants to hold her accountable, she's holding them to the same standard. Any outlet caught twisting facts or pushing partisan narratives will be called out, loud and clear. Judging by the looks on those reporters' faces, they weren't ready for this level of energy from the podium. Leavitt didn't just take the job, she took control.
As we're dealing with anti-DEI, anti-woke efforts, we understand this administration is thinking about celebrating Black History Month. Have you got any word on that? Anything that you can offer to us?
The woke crowd isn't even trying to hide it anymore. One journalist flat out asked what Trump planned to do about Black History Month, linking it to his so-called anti-woke and anti-DEI stance. Let's be real, this wasn't curiosity, it was a trap. A classic move to paint Trump's administration as anti-Black and stir outrage. But Karoline was ready. Instead of taking the bait, she flipped the narrative, reminding everyone that American history isn't about skin color. It's about the contributions of all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed. And just like that, the trap collapsed under its own weight.
As far as I know, this White House certainly still intends to celebrate, and we will continue to celebrate American history and the contributions that all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed, have made to our great country, and America is back.
And to think, Karoline Leavitt is just 27 years old. Yep, you heard that right. But don't let her age fool you. She's built for battle. Leavitt studied communications and political science at St. Anselm College in New Hampshire, her home state. Straight out of college, she landed a role in Trump's first administration, serving as assistant press secretary under Kayleigh McEnany. Her job? Helping McEnany prep for high-stakes press briefings, sharpening talking points, and dismantling media spin before it even hit the podium. But Leavitt didn't stop there. In 2022, she ran for Congress, taking down the establishment GOP favorite in the primaries. Sure, she lost to the Democratic incumbent in the general election, but she made waves and clearly caught Trump's attention. Now, as press secretary, she's not just holding the line, she's pushing it forward. Young? Sure. Inexperienced? Not even close. So when that journalist tried to corner her, Leavitt's response wasn't just sharp, it was backed by experience. And you'd think after taking such a beating, they'd back down. But no, they kept pressing with more DEI questions. Still, Leavitt stood her ground.
The president talked a lot yesterday about hiring the best and the brightest to work in the federal government. Safety aside, does he believe that disabled people do have a place to work in the federal government? And does he also support the current protections for disabled people working in the private sector as well?
The president has made it very clear that this is a common sense solution to solving some of the problems that we have seen at the Federal Aviation Administration, and also when it comes to many of the federal agencies across our government. People should not be hired based on their disabilities, based on their skin color, their gender, their race. None of that matters. What matters to this president and this administration is how well you can do your job, and the American people agree with that sentiment. So it's about competence, skill, and merit. And so the president is focused on ensuring that the most competent individuals, the best and the brightest in this country, are in positions in this federal government, especially when it comes to public safety. Can't overemphasize the importance of those jobs.
It's just common sense. Hire the best, the brightest, and the most qualified, especially for jobs that impact public safety. You know, like making sure planes actually land safely. But no, the woke mob would rather hand out jobs based on skin color, gender, or disability, as if diversity quotas somehow make airplanes fly straighter. Let's be honest, this isn't about fairness. It's about playing the victim card to climb the ladder. Competence be damned. The whole "give me the job because I check a box" mentality has nothing to do with merit and everything to do with entitlement. Leavitt didn't just reject that nonsense. She torched it. Skill, experience, results. That's what matters, and the American people know it. Funny how the loudest voices pushing DEI wouldn't dare apply the same logic to their own surgeons or pilots. Because when lives are on the line, identity politics won't save you. When you're talented and qualified, you get the job, disabled or not. Stephen Hawking was disabled, but that didn't stop him from reaching the pinnacle of the scientific community. He's widely regarded as one of the greatest theoretical physicists of all time. Yet the woke media kept pushing their DEI narrative, forcing Leavitt to shut it down once and for all.
And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Enough said. After that hammer blow from one of the sharpest White House press secretaries in recent memory, there's really nothing left to add. You'd think no one would dare question Leavitt's competence after such a display of wit and wisdom. But cue The View, led by Joy Behar. The ladies wasted no time tearing her down, not with facts or logic, but by reducing her success to her looks. Because of course, when you can't counter someone's argument, you attack the person instead. Classic.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Critics called Bihar sexist for her remarks, but I see it differently. This isn't sexism. It's pure, unfiltered jealousy. Bihar knows she could never match Leavitt's brilliance, eloquence, or composure, even if she had 9 lives and a personal speech coach. Leavitt's words hit with precision, while Bihar stumbles through talking points like someone reading a teleprompter for the first time. But this isn't just about age or experience. It's about capability. Leavitt walks into the lion's den daily, facing a hostile press corps and leaving them grasping for straws. Bihar? She takes cheap shots from the safety of a daytime talk show panel, surrounded by nodding heads who would rather clap than challenge her. It's easy to criticize from the sidelines when you'll never have to play the game. And that's the real root of Bihar's bitterness, watching someone younger, sharper, and undeniably more competent steal the spotlight she never earned. But Leavitt's sharp wit and rhetoric aren't limited to White House press conferences. Here's Leavitt dismantling another journalist in a completely different setting. Good Morning America.
Look, we want people to return to work. We have beautiful federal office buildings here in Washington, D.C. that American taxpayers are paying for. They should be used. That's what the American people deserve.
But is there any concern that we risk losing people with years of experience like doctors and let's say scientists?
Well, most doctors who work in actual hospitals and medical institutions have to show up to the office. We know that employees are more productive and more efficient when they are working in an in-office environment, and that's what this administration expects, and I think that's what American taxpayers expect. Don't forget, it's the American people who are funding this government, and they deserve people who are actually showing up to work on their behalf.
Here she is taking a well-aimed jab at woke reporters pushing for ridiculous work-from-home policies. If your job requires you to be in the office, then show up, because taxpayers footing the bill expect real services, not Zoom calls. Remote work might fly in the private sector, but when it comes to government jobs that directly impact public services, presence matters. Federal office buildings aren't just decorative. They exist for a reason. Leavitt made it clear. The American people deserve more than empty desks and virtual meetings. It's about accountability, not convenience. But she saved the best for last. On her very first day as White House press secretary, she delivered some well-placed jabs at President Biden, and her supporters absolutely loved it.
Well, in terms of programming,
Sounds
should we
fun.
expect to see you here every day? How frequently will these press briefings be?
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add, that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
Where's the lie? Joe Biden can barely walk across a stage without guidance, let alone juggle press conferences and executive orders. Remember when he wandered off during a FEMA briefing, leaving even his own staff confused? Or when he completely blanked during a live interview, mumbling, "What am I doing here?" Not exactly confidence-inspiring. Meanwhile, Leavitt is built for this job, sharp, composed, and always 3 steps ahead. If this is what she delivers on day 1, imagine what's coming next. The media might not like it, but they'd better get used to it. She didn't just survive her first week, she dominated it. Cool under pressure, razor sharp with facts, and unfazed by woke gotcha questions. If the press thought they could steamroll her, they've got another thing coming.